Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bryan Stewart. I am honored to represent the team at HDO Health this afternoon to tell you a little bit about our company and our life-saving technology, the Journiquet. The problem we are solving is bleeding to death. If you're not aware, as you can see on the screen, about 90% of combat fatalities, 40% of civilian fatalities occur from simply bleeding to death. And of those, about 18% occur at the torso appendage junction. Think, where the leg meets the hip or the arm meets the torso. Our solution is the HDO Health Journiquet. You see on the top right of the screen the simplified stowed version, and on the screen the fully deployed version. You can also see this is a Class 2, and I don't know why this is auto-scrolling, is a Class 2 FDA 510K device, single-use, non-sterile, non-invasive. And as a former Marine, it's very simple. You'll see why that's critical, particularly in the applications where this device will be used. So how it works, you simply wrap the belt around the patient, snap the buckle, hold the pressure assembly and pull the belt as tight as you can around the patient's waist. And then with only a gross motor movement, apply direct pressure that will occlude the femoral artery. If the patient is still bleeding, you can use a gross motor movement and simply turn the pressure adjustment knob until the bleeding stops. Again, as a former Marine, we like to keep things simple. So simply, this device feels better. You see all the areas where we're better, faster, easier, cheaper, lighter, and more secure, particularly during patient transport from being in the field to a definitive site of care. Here you see how we stack up against the competition. We believe we are simply better in every category for the things we just mentioned related to feels. One thing I want to note in particular is you see using only gross motor movements. You may be thinking, well, why is that relevant or why is that important? As you may or may not know, one of the first things to go in a highly traumatic or combat scenario are fine motor movements. So one of the initial design criteria was developing a device that could be deployed and used effectively with no fine motor movements being required. Here you see our team. We believe we are highly qualified to help solve this problem, including myself, as I mentioned, a former Marine Corps infantry officer with more than 30 years in healthcare, including a decade in diagnostics, a decade in medical device. I like to think of our team as like the Gilligan's Island. We have the business guy. We have the professor, Dr. Nocera, who is a professor of biomechanical engineering at The Ohio State University. Dr. James McElroy, who is an ER critical care physician and also serves as a SWAT medic on his local SWAT team. And then last but not least is Mr. Noddy Graham, who is a career law enforcement officer with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, where he served for the last 24 years as the primary medic for their special response or SWAT team. You see also, it's probably hard to read, but we have a very large and I would say prolific group of advisors spanning medical devices, M&A, human capital, 3PL, as well as representation from fire, EMS, as well as members from all 4 branches of the U.S. military special operations, including the gentleman you'll see, it's probably hard to see. Our latest edition includes the gentleman who just recently retired as what's called the SEAC. He was the senior enlisted advisor to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So he was the most senior enlisted person in the entire U.S. military. And he also happens to be an Air Force pararescueman for his entire career. So we believe adds a lot of credibility. After the last panel talking about the person that's there and named that adds a lot of credibility, that's our guy, CZ Cologne, who adds what we think a lot of credibility for us. You see some other folks there who are our partners, including the Ohio State University, the National Security Innovation Network, Rev1 Ventures. In terms of market size, fairly large market when you consider the civilian population, including obtaining an over-the-counter clearance from the FDA that would allow us to sell this device directly to consumers, including all the preppers. I don't know if there are any of you in the audience are preppers. We believe every prepper should have one of these devices in their kit once it's available. You see where we're focused initially is on this serviceable attainable market of 190 million, with the primary point of the target being U.S. special military combat medicine, and then from there cascading out to civilian law enforcement. Our vision is this device is in every police car, ambulance, in every ER, hanging with every automated external defibrillator device that's in the world, and then ultimately in all of your vehicles, your cars, given this could be applicable for civilian trauma as well. In terms of traction and scalability, you see we've received feedback from more than 300 end users. As you might imagine, the folks that will be using this device in the military and law enforcement have no problem telling you if your device sucks. So the good news is we've had great feedback from all the folks that have had their hands on the device, basically saying, hey, this is great. We love the design. when and where can I get one for my unit or for my own use. We've received nearly $500,000 in non-dilutive funding from the state of Ohio, from the Ohio State University, as well as Rev 1 Ventures in Columbus. Our business strategy is to partner with other service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses that are already DoD or government service agency contract holders for distribution. You see some of the programs we've completed, including the National Security Innovation Network Vector Program. If you're not familiar with that, that is for companies that have dual-use technologies for both civilian and Department of Defense use. We completed their Vector program and received some funding from them as well. In terms of de-risking, we are currently at TRL and MRL 6, if you're familiar with those technology readiness and manufacturing readiness levels. So we feel like we're pretty well de-risked. We have a final prototype. We have completed a 510K pre-submission with the FDA, and I would say received very positive feedback from our reviewer, including guidance on our desire to pursue an over-the-counter clearance as a secondary filing. You can see we are patent and trademark pending. We have a very strong contract manufacturing partner identified, and we believe we have a very clear regulatory pathway as a Class 2 510K device. We are looking in the process of adding additional portfolio products focused in that combat medicine field trauma space as well. In terms of our fundraising, we are looking to raise a $2.1 million seed round, essentially to get us through the FDA and on the market. You see it's in the three tranches there, phase 1, 2, and 3, and primarily for regulatory strategy and testing, inventory acquisition, and then some corporate structure, including liability insurance, D&O insurance, and things of that nature. So the down and dirty, I don't know why this is, it's annoying, but the down and dirty, I figure we're in New Orleans. This is my summary slide here. If you take away nothing else from my 7 minutes with you here, remember, the device feels better. It's simply better than what's currently available. End users love it and are asking for it. It was designed by and for end users, so we feel like we have very strong product market fit from the feedback we have and continue to receive. A very clear pathway to market, informed and engaged business partners with the folks that I mentioned. Ultimately, we're very passionate about as a founding team that this device will help save lives, and that we have a high sense of urgency. Every day this device isn't on the market means there's probably someone somewhere that dies of bleeding to death when this device could be readily available to help that. As a bullpen member, I want to put it in my asks. Next time would be to not auto forward my slides, but if you have any introductions or if you're interested in having a conversation, by the way, I do have a prototype device with me. If you'd like to get your hands on it or try it on to actually see what it looks and feels like, you're welcome to do that. Any collaborative research partners, particularly around perfused cadaveric testing, which is one of the items we need to check off the box for our 510K submission, as well as if you have technologies in your IP portfolios from an academic or other perspective that sort of meet our focus in the market. We'd love to have conversations about that as well. Here's my contact information if you'd like to connect further. And sorry for the slides. I don't know what's going on with that.
For some questions?
Anyone? Hey, yes, sir.
Just have some general technical question. Do you have a comparison on the performance of your product versus competitors? Thank you.
We do. We actually have all the competitive devices that we've done our own preliminary testing on. We have a full research plan that would do more user-based testing to more strictly define like time of application. So we have a whole research plan that would inform that as part of our next round of funding.
Question.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
I may have missed this, but do you have utility or design patents on this?
It's a design patents have been what's filed.
Was it?
Christian has a question.
Bryan, just wondering when you're not CEO, doing that work, what else do you do in life? And I think that's important because you're looking for funding and it speaks to your leadership. So.
Thank you for asking. I do a lot of things. One, I'm very involved in corporate governance, certified by the Private Directors Association, so definitely looking to contribute, helping companies either form advisory boards or serve on fiduciary boards. And then I have a leadership consulting firm where I work with other CEOs, boards, emerging leaders called The Leadership Seed, where it's sort of, that's my side hustle to being a CEO of a startup. That's really where my passion lies, is helping other leaders nurture, grow, and develop their leadership potential. So thank you for asking, Christian.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.